Yeah, so we have Nick here. He is the president of the UNC Nami on campus, and then I work at Nami, North Carolina, and I've been working there for about 2 years now. I'm the Youth Initiatives Outreach Coordinator, which is a long title, but pretty much it means that I work with our youth and anything related to like any youth initiatives that we may have. Work with our Nami on campus clubs. We have a youth council that we also are a part of. And so I work with anything pretty much youth related, which I'm really happy about because originally when I applied for the position, it was for working more with adults. But when I got the opportunity to work with youth, I feel like I definitely fit more into that mold. And I just love working with, young adults, and youth because they just come with fresh perspectives, and it's overall been a great experience working with Nami. Prior to working at Nami, I actually got involved with Nami because of my own mental health struggles. As Jenny knows, I was her peer-to-peer teacher for one of my classes, so I also volunteered on the side for Nami. And I have family members with severe mental illness, and so Nami has been definitely a saving grace for us, and so I was so happy to be able to work with them. Today we're just going to talk a little bit about the different youth opportunities and initiatives that we have at Nami, and kind of the importance behind them, and also what makes them so impactful, and the things that I've seen so far, working with Nami. So I know that Faith Connections and Nami have had, long-standing relationship for many years now. So I'm sure you may know a lot of this information, but just to go over it, who we are, what we do, why do we do it. So Nami is a nationwide nonprofit. It is actually the largest grassroots mental health organization in the U.S., and it's focused mainly on helping people with mental health conditions and their families live full and meaningful lives. And that's something that really attracted me to Nami, was the idea is that even if you are diagnosed with a mental health condition, sometimes it can feel like life-shattering, when you first get diagnosed. But I love the idea that anybody, regardless of whatever their condition is or their diagnosis, they can live, a fulfilling, meaningful life, just like any other member of society. You just have to, I suppose, just learn to live with your condition. So I think that's really important message to share. And so today, Nami, which originally started in 1979, by a group of parents that had adult children with mental health conditions, and they weren't sure how to, who to reach out to in the community, to talk to, what resources were out there. So they came together like at a kitchen table and decided, we need to come together and support each other. And so I think that's really impactful. And so today it's grown to be in all 50 states. We have hundreds of local affiliates working all over the country to support communities and people who are struggling with their mental health and create real change. So some of the pillars that Nami offers is support. So we have free, all of our programming in the community is free. So we have free support groups for people who are struggling with their mental health, but also for family members. Because, anybody who has had a family member who may be struggling, that it affects the whole family unit when somebody is struggling with their mental health. And so we, at Nami, we provide support for family members as well. And we also have educational courses, and these are also free. Anybody can attend. They usually span 8 weeks, and they're designed to provide education to people struggling with their mental health, but we also have for family members. We also have this course called Nami Basics, which is for parents that have young children that have been diagnosed with mental health conditions. And so yeah, it provides a lot of education, and that's kind of what I was talking about with Jenny, that I got trained in peer-to-peer, which is an 8-week course that I gave with Tammy. And I think she's also affiliated with Faith Connections, right?
Yeah, Tammy is.
Yeah, she's great. So me and Tammy have taught 2 courses together, and she's really great. And then of course the advocacy piece is huge. So, we work a lot with legislators and community partners to advocate for people with mental health conditions and receiving the support that they need. And this can look like, fighting for different laws to be implemented, so people can get more access to mental health resources. It can look like partnering with different organizations and creating programs to help people with their mental health. So we do quite a bit, even though our office is relatively small, which I'll explain, because there's different levels at Nami. We have the national level, which is they're kind of the people at the top, and they manage a lot of our overall mission and strategy, and do national advocacy efforts. And then we have the state office, which is where I work at. And we're not a very big office. We have about, I would say right now we have 10 to 12 people working at the state office. And what we do is we support our NAMI affiliates. And our NAMI affiliates are really the ones that do a lot of the work. They're the ones that are carrying out the training, the signature programming, and most of them are volunteers, which is really incredible because they don't necessarily have to do it, but they're taking the time out of their day, out of their busy schedules to put on these courses, to attend NAMI walks, to really provide support, direct support out into the community. And so we're very thankful for our NAMI affiliate members because they work really hard, and a lot of them are just volunteers, and so it's not a paid thing. They just do it out of the goodness of their heart. So, and then of course we have our NAMI on Campus clubs, where Nick is part of, and they're also great. These are student-led groups, which I'll go a little bit more in detail about. But they are in college and high school campuses, and they are all about providing mental health support, mental health awareness, and essentially trying to get rid of the stigma associated with mental health that is on college campuses. And they do this by doing a variety of things like hosting events, workshops, doing trainings, even having support groups on campuses. And so they do a lot, and we know that they're very busy with their own lives, and school already comes with a lot of pressure, and so we're so thankful to be able to work with them, and they're so enthusiastic and passionate about mental health, so it's great to see. Let's see, next slide. Okay, so a little bit what I just said, but NAMI on Campus. They're student-led initiatives, so essentially the students decide, what their NAMI on Campus looks like. We don't really direct them. We offer them different opportunities. We can always go by. I always offer to go by and do presentations, but really they decide what their NAMI on Campus club looks like, and that's what we want them to do. We want them to have that leadership role in creating their NAMI on Campus. And so it's really great to empower students to advocate for mental health in their own way, because each college campus is unique and has their own barriers and struggles, and so they know their community best. And so we trust that they know what their community knows, what their community needs. So here's a picture of a couple of our NAMI on campuses. We have quite a few. As you can see, we have a lot of the UNC school system ones like UNC Charlotte, UNC Chapel Hill, Fayetteville State University, NC State, UNC Wilmington. And we've also started to work on trying to get more community colleges, which has been a big goal for us this year. Because, yeah, we found that, community colleges need just as much support as, these big universities. But of course, it also comes with its own challenges because a lot of community college students are, transitioning to larger schools and to find presidents to take over and stuff like that. Once the other ones leave, it can be challenging. But it's something that we're really working hard towards. And then a couple years, we started to do high schools. And so we have like Durham Academy, the Apex Friendship High School. And so that's something that's important to us, is just being able to get to as many schools as possible. And so that's kind of part of my role as well. And working at Nami is traveling across the state, doing presentations like this, and really trying to encourage students to get, a Nami on campus started at their school. So these are some of the reasons that it's really beneficial to have a Nami on campus. For one, we found that early intervention is really key. A lot of mental health conditions start to begin and develop actually by the age of 24. It can start younger, but it's usually in those late teen, early 20s that mental health conditions develop. And so it's really crucial that, students get support when they have their first mental health crisis, because it reduces the chance of them having another one in the future. It reduces the severity of it, possibly. And so it's super important to do that. Another thing is peer support. We found that many students, 64% of students, are actually more likely to confide in a peer than a professional at their school. And so by having these Nami on campus clubs and them meeting once a month, and they do a wide range of activities together, they talk about what's going on in their lives, they're more likely to talk about kind of what they're struggling with versus like holding it inside. Another reason is just raising awareness. It's actually fairly common, and 1 in 5 college students experience a mental health condition, but unfortunately only 40% of them seek out support due to stigma, which is an ongoing issue. And so by our Nami on campus clubs, throwing these events, like UNC has this big event that they hold every year called, End the Stigma World?
Reduce the Stigma.
Reduce the Stigma worldwide. So they hold this huge event on campus where they have free food and free t-shirts and Nami on campus things that they can hand out to everybody. They have games and activities, and all of it's to kind of just talk about mental health and bring attention to it, and so that people feel less afraid or embarrassed or ashamed to come forward and talk about what they're going through. And so I think that's super powerful. It also helps create a safe environment. So they found that students actually with Nami on campus clubs are more likely to seek out support from the school's counseling services and different services that the school provides. So it's very important. Also leadership opportunities. So a lot of students that are involved in Nami on campus once they graduate, end up still advocating for mental health and being part of that community, whether it's through Nami or another organization. A lot of them carry that with them. And it's just a great experience to develop, leadership skills, advocacy skills, and things like that. So, and then the long-term impact is that kind of what I just said, that they're more likely to engage in mental health advocacy at post-graduation. So let's see. So some of the challenges, and I'm sure you can like speak to this too, but like some of the challenges that we have found that young people face are things like academic pressure, social media, which has been a big thing that even 10 years ago when I was in school, or like, it's been a bit longer than that, but so even I think, social media is just something that we're not really sure what the effects are yet on how, there's definitely benefits to it, but we have found that there are detrimental effects from social media and just online environments. Then the stigma that's associated with struggling with their mental health, and then barriers to receiving support, and then just in general the lack of support on campus. Schools luckily are becoming more aware of the importance of mental health awareness, luckily, but sometimes funds, like recently there's been different funds that have been cut off to help students with their mental health because of money issues and the government, all the changes that are happening right now. Unfortunately, sometimes that affects the mental health support that students need. So I talked a little bit about this already, but there are many benefits, just creating a supportive community, giving students the empowerment to lead a campus club and talk on these topics that they feel passionate about, access to resources. So a lot of our Nami on campuses, they hold monthly meetings. And so sometimes they'll have guest speakers come and talk about different topics related to mental health. And so that's a great way to, they become informed that way. We also at Nami, North Carolina, encourage our Nami on campus students to do things like come to our Advocacy Day, which is at the end of April every year. Yeah, and we go down to the legislative building in downtown Raleigh, and last year we were able to have them speak with a senator, a group of our young adults, and ask them questions on kind of what exactly are the changes that are being implemented to support youth. I know like one thing that I remember was them asking, we have a lot of curriculum dedicated to life skills and such, but what about creating a class, dedicated to mental health skills, and relationship skills? And so I thought that was really great. And so the more they advocate for this, the more their voices are heard, and we want their voices to be heard. And then of course networking is a great thing for them too. So some of the activities that our Nami on campuses do are things like awareness events. We offer stipends for them. We offer stipends for them to do Nami signature programs. So suppose that they're interested in starting a support group on campus. We pay them $50 for taking the training, and then $30 for every support group that they hold on campus. And then another thing, which I'll talk about a little bit more about, is our Ending the Silence presentation, which is designed for young adults to tell their stories to high school and middle school students in the area. And they get $70 per presentation. And so we really want to show them that we appreciate their work and the time they're putting aside to do these programs. And so yeah, that's something that we do. They have fundraising activities. Of course, we have our yearly Nami walk, in which we bring out, I think last year we had around 1,000 people come down, and we do a walk every year, and we have food and DJs and vendors come down. And so we always encourage our Nami on campuses to come. We can cover like travel costs and stuff like that because we really want to see them there. And I believe for the last few years we've had a fraternity. I forget which fraternity it is, but they bring like hot dogs and hamburgers and food out in support of Nami. So then they also collaborate with other organizations, and then they can even conduct workshops on campus, like, how to reduce stress and cope with, exams and feeling overwhelmed, and so how to develop coping skills or stress management or, mindfulness activities, self-care, all these different things. So here's some pictures that we have of our different events. So I think this is UNC. Could this be UNC students?
Before my time.
Yeah, before your time. Yeah, I think this is like a year, 2 years ago. But they had like a gingerbread contest for one of their meetings. So sometimes they just do fun activities. This was UNCG. They held like a concert outside where a lot of the local like students that were part of bands or like to play music, and they had like food trucks and stuff like that come out. This is UNC with the Reduce the Stigma Worldwide. They handed out pizza. The great thing is that there's a lot of like local restaurants and local, even like bigger things like Walmart and Target that will support Nami and support the students by giving them like free pizza and stuff to hand out at their events. They bring out therapy dogs are really popular, so they'll bring out a bunch of therapy dogs to the campus and students can interact with them. This was interesting. Wake Forest University had a day where they went out to a llama farm, I guess, or alpaca. I don't know if it's llama or alpaca, but they were like bonding with the alpacas and stuff, so it looked really fun. And this one's really great, but this is Let's Talk Mental Health, which is Wake Forest University has started a local partnership with middle schools where they actually go and they talk about mental health skills, and they've really done really well with that partnership. This is UNC Wilmington. They partnered with the local Boys and Girls Club to hold a day where they had like a whole range of activities, like from crafts to rock climbing. And then they did the Ending the Silence presentation, which was great. And then they'll sometimes do fun things, like they'll hold up signs on campus and say what should you not say to your single friends on Valentine's Day, or leaving self-love post-its, what's something you love about yourself and stuff like that. So it's fun. They're very creative, and I'm always impressed with the different things that they put together. But yeah, it's been great to just showcase what they do, and overall it's just been great to see them and see this on school, because I didn't have something similar to this when I was in school.
Yeah, I was wondering, when did all this start?
So that's a good question. The Nami on campuses, I'm gonna look it up actually.
It's nationwide, is that right?
Yeah. Let's see, what year? Because I know high schools was like a rather recent thing. What year did on campus begin? So Nami on campus. That's interesting, because they're putting 1984.
It's probably just like one school though.
Yeah, it might have been one school here or there. Oh my goodness, officially started. Yeah, they don't have like a specific date, but I mean I can recall, I did go to like a community college and then a university that was rather small, so maybe they just didn't have it. But I don't know. I don't know how long Nami on campus has been around. I'm not sure. But I don't think it has been around like too long.
Or not as widespread as
yeah.
But it's nationwide.
Nationwide, yeah. So we have them all over the nation, and there's actually a group chat that Nami on campus leaders can be part of, so like presidents and vice presidents, in which they can actually chat with different Nami on campus leaders from all over the country, and that's really cool.
Wow.
Cause yeah, were you part of a Nami on campus in Colorado?
No, I met with like the regional NAMI guy there, but I wasn't that involved with NAMI. I was like kind of doing my own thing for mental health.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But yeah, they're everywhere. So yeah, this is just kind of basic information on how to start a NAMI on campus. Which, you know, if anyone's interested, you can always reach out to me. I'll have my information at the end. But overall, it's a pretty simple process. You know, they just need approval from their school. 3 members, the president, secretary, and treasurer. And from there, they can start their NAMI on campus. And usually we support them by, they get a whole bunch of information and tips on how to start their NAMI on campus. And then we send them a care package full of t-shirts, water bottles, keychains, and stuff like that, just to get them started. And yeah, so that's kind of that. These are 2 things I did want to mention today. If anyone knows any young adults who may be interested, we have this upcoming workshop that's kind of grown into a summit, actually. It's called the Changemaker Summit. And it's taking place, I didn't put it here, but it's taking place in September at the Junior League in Raleigh. It's for young adults between the ages of 18 and 30. We do cover travel costs. Like if they're traveling from far away, we can even cover like hotel costs. But pretty much it's a day that we're dedicating to advocacy and connecting leaders and policymakers with students. So pretty much what we've done is we've connected we have a Next Gen Council, which I haven't really talked about, but we have a youth council of 10 students between the ages of 18 and 25. And we started this 2 years ago, and they are very passionate about mental health, and so we do projects with them by creating like resources for youth that they feel like they need. And so I can talk a little bit about our Jeopardy game that we created, because Nick was part of that one. And so this Changemakers workshop actually came up a couple months ago, and so we've been working on it. And essentially we have been able to connect our next gen youth council members with different legislators or senators, and they hold these interviews with them. And we have 4 separate topics that we're discussing. One of them is homelessness and reentry, which is a big issue right now when it comes to mental health. We're also talking about minority mental health in schools, and then your topic is
it's like I haven't done it yet, but it's public health.
Public health, yeah. And so he's actually going to interview Kelly Cosby for that. She's offered to do the interview, and so he'll ask her some questions on that, and we're planning to record it and then show it at the summit, and then afterwards have a discussion about that with the young adults.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's really great. And so we've also been able to do an interview with Senator Hawkins, who discussed, I believe, he discussed youth mental health in schools. And so it was a really great interview, and so we're planning to showcase that too afterwards.
Wow.
So if you guys know of any young adults between the ages of 18 and 30 that would love to attend, we're going to have interactive activities, free lunch, and we definitely want to get as many people as we can to join. So yeah, and then here's a little bit about our Next Gen group. So Nami, North Carolina 2 years ago, we started doing our Next Gen Council because we found that, we really wanted to hear from the youth. As youth mental health has become a focus, like not only with NAMI and C, but like on a larger scale, DHHS, who we work directly with, is really focusing on youth mental health. And so we put together this council. Last year it was 15 members. This year we brought it down to 9. But we meet monthly, and we talk about, their experiences, facing like barriers related to mental health, getting access to resources, and then we create a project designed to address these barriers. So last year, the Youth Council 2025 actually put together a Jeopardy game for mental health. We designed one for high school students and then a separate one for middle school students, just to like make sure it was age appropriate for each age. And this is something they all thought of. And it's really fun. You're able to like test your knowledge. It's all about mental health. And it's all research backed. They did they took the time to make sure to everything was research informed, and so it's really great. And so we're hoping to launch it into local middle and high school students and just offer it to teachers. And along with that, we have a parent toolkit that we created, which is like a little brochure that you can open up for parents. And so we wanted to offer that to parents because we feel like parents have a role in supporting their youth, and sometimes they don't know how to start difficult conversations related to how to talk to my teen about, I see that they've been more withdrawn, I see that they may be struggling, how to start that conversation, how to be active listening, how to avoid words that sound maybe judgmental or, and so we created both of those. The Next Gen students, they really thought of all of it and put it together. It just kind of was there to help them with like a little, here and there, but they did it. And so this is our new Next Gen Council this year. We still have some members from last year, but it's been great working with them. And this year we're hoping to continue to work on this summit and possibly create another youth resource for students. So yeah, I think, okay. So this is my information. If anyone ever wants to reach out to me, suppose that you know a school that may be interested in starting a Nami on campus, I'm always happy to go do a presentation or speak with them. I also, if you know of any young adults that may want to, attend the summit that's coming up in September, I'd be happy to talk to them about it and get them enrolled. And yeah, so that's kind of my presentation. I have Nick here to answer any questions that anyone may have regarding, what we do and what it's like, Yeah.
Yeah, maybe put it back so that we can see all the Zoom.
Zoom, yeah, the Zoom.
Well, if she stops sharing her screen.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, Nick,
Oh, yeah.
if you want to get up in front of your laptop.
Let's see. Okay. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, just put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand. Wait, stop sharing screen, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, we'll see.
Let's see.
See if anyone has. I did cover quite a bit.
Okay, so Nick, I was just wanting for you to have a chance to just talk about what led you to be a part of Nami on campus.
Yeah, how did you start that?
Yeah, I think for me, it started in high school. I did a lot for mental health because I think my mental health was really impacted with COVID and some family events that took place. And so I got involved in this group in my high school that worked with the school that the Board of Education there. And then we actually I think Sarah kind of touched upon this. We worked to create a proposal or a draft for a class that focused on mental health skills, mindfulness, and we tried to get it implemented in all the high schools in my district. But yeah, so I graduated before that was like fully completed. I hope that they kept it. I haven't been back in a while. So yeah, we created the framework for it. We just needed to get approved and get funding. So we had everything. We worked with the board to get that in place. But then I came here, and I feel like the culture around mental health is a little bit different here than like Colorado, because Colorado I feel like is a little bit more progressive than like North Carolina in some ways. So I came here and I wanted to find a way to get involved, and I found Nami Next Gen first actually. So I applied for Nami Next Gen. I was working with that. And then one of the past Next Gen members, he was one of the presidents for Nami on campus at UNC. So I applied to be one of the co-presidents, so that's how I kind of got involved here. But yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
Okay. Have you guys been to any of the high schools in Chapel Hill or Durham?
Yeah, we actually just went to one last week. Actually, we went to Chapel Hill East. So
East Chapel Hill.
yeah, we gave a little quick presentation there. Me and one of my members on our leadership team, we went down there and we gave them a talk about Nami on campus, Nami Next Gen, what they can do. We actually suggested that they should create their own Nami
That would be so
on
cool.
campus. So
Yeah.
I'm still in touch with the head psychiatrist or psychologist there. I'm still in touch with him. So they're hosting another event in May, so we'll probably be there. But yeah, should be great.
Yeah.
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 That's
Looks
interesting.
like you have some questions on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me find the exact date of the summit.
Okay.
I have that.
And do you work with the general community? Okay, so Joanne, I know you can hear me. Are you asking Nick about the NAMI on campus general community projects, or are you asking Sarah?
You work with
I'm asking Sarah.
Okay, so NAMI youth programs, would you partner with other organizations?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
I know Joanne is part of another organization. She's my friend, and so I know she would love to partner
Yeah.
with other organizations. So, yeah, I'm sure we can talk about that later, and then I'll fill in Joanne later.
Definitely. We love to partner with other organizations, and I think that like by putting our like working together, we can really achieve great things. And so I would love to work with a different organization.
Yeah. To be able to really penetrate communities.
Yeah.
So that they're not in the dark,
Yes.
Because, how will they know unless people actually come out and say, hey, we're here, you need help, how can we partner? So
Exactly.
yes, we're shining our lights on each other.
Yes, exactly. We're supporting each other and promoting each other too, which I think is really great. And so
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, and all our faith communities have,
Yeah.
well, I think all of them have some kind of a youth program.
Not mine.
And not yours? Well, most of them did, I should say most of them.
They're very young right now, but
Yeah.
when they grow up, yeah.
Well, I know our church does, and, there's often, a lot of communication, I know, between the youth minister or the youth leader and the college students as they go off, And it's not just the high school, but I think it could be a really good liaison. And they should know about this, because I did not know about Nami on campus.
Yeah.
That's why I asked how long it'd been, because my kids have both gone to college,
Right.
never heard of it.
I didn't know about it at UNC
No.
Greensboro in the 90s.
So, right, so we're gonna try to publicize all of this, try to get your information out to all of even if they didn't come, I know some of them are on Zoom, but we're gonna try to publicize this with all of the faith communities. We do have youth, high school youth groups and college youth groups.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That would be amazing.
so they can maybe do something together.
Yeah, and even we can talk about Nami on campus, and even hold like a workshop about coping skills or just how to reach out. Well, that's something I wanted to do. It was our Ending the Silence presentation, which our UNC Nami on campus members are in the process of getting trained in it. Yeah, and so it's really great. It's designed for high school and middle school students. But they talk all about kind of a wide range of topics related to mental health, how to reach out to support when you're struggling, how to find like a trusted adult. And even if you find your peers may be struggling, how to, oops, sorry, I did not mean to do that. So how to if you see a peer struggling, what are the warning signs? How to talk to your parents, like who to reach out to at your school. And so it's really great. And so the best part of it is that we have young adults in college come and talk to these high schoolers, which I feel like they relate more because they're closer in age. And then usually we'll have a college student who's in recovery and who's comfortable telling their story a little bit on how they overcame their struggles with mental health. And so
personal contacts are very important.
Definitely.
I was going to ask a question, since many of these mental illnesses appear in college-age students. Is there, what about someone who sees someone really struggling? And how did that identification process, or is there, because there is suicide is high among college-age students. I mean, that's one of the peaks because there's a lot of stress.
Definitely. And we talk about that, and ending the silence. A big part of it is not only how to, reach out to help yourself, but how to help your peers. And your friends who may be struggling. And what's the difference between, lightly joking about suicide or is it a sign that someone's actually struggling with their mental health? And so, even in our Jeopardy game that we created, some of the topics were related to, is joking about suicide a sign, or is it just something to be taken lightly? And most of the time we do recommend taking it seriously, even if it's in a joking manner. Sometimes you do, it's best to take it seriously and get them support, and even how to start that conversation with your friend. That's another training that we're offering. It's called QPR, which is question, persuade, and refer.
Or response.
A response. I'm currently taking the training to train other people. And so my plan is to go to different Nami on campuses and train them in this, and so that they can know how to talk to their peers. And kind of the idea is that you start off with an open-ended question like, hey, I've noticed you've been struggling lately, is there anything you want to talk about? I'm always here. And then persuading them to get help, because sometimes that can be the difficult part, is that they open up to you, but then they don't want to, reach out for help, or they put it off. And so that's the persuasion part. And so they'll give you actual tips on how to persuade them to get help. And then how to refer them to a mental health professional. And so it's great and they're already offering it on college campuses, but Nami wants to do it. We're trying to train all of our Nami on campuses to have that information. So
yeah, and kind of going back to your question as well, I feel like I can speak for UNC. There are safety nets in place for students that are struggling. I know we have this thing where we have the dean of academic support, the dean of students. And so if teachers notice something is wrong, they will refer you to the dean of students, and you can work out a plan with them. And additionally, we have this thing called CAPS, which is our counseling and psychological services, which is big at UNC, and I think they're very helpful. But I think a lot of the times too, students don't, which is surrounded by the stigma of mental illness, they either don't realize that they are really struggling with their mental health, or they don't want to do anything about it because they feel bad or feel scared, or it makes them look weak. So it's I think having these peer support groups in place is like very important. It's also like important to like destigmatize it too, because I feel like sometimes you can't really even tell that like someone is struggling. So I think we're trying to like attack like the problem at different angles. Yeah.
Yeah. How many, like in your club, how many students are there?
So the amount of students in the club, so we're kind of like in like a little rebuild period right now. But I think the people before I took leadership, they're kind of checked out, like they're seniors. So it's like we're trying to move on, like
Right.
But right now we have around 60 to 70 members in our like group me.
Really?
That doesn't really translate to how many people actually show
Yes.
up.
We know how that is.
Yeah.
We know how
So,
that is.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the amount of members that we have, it kind of varies. I think our our core leadership team, they're very, they don't always show up. So that's like around 10 of us.
Uh-huh.
But we'll always draw in 5 to 10 more people. I know like our net, like the reduce the stigma worldwide is gonna be big. Yeah,
That's good.
we're inviting like 20, 30 clubs. Like
That's
they're all gonna
great.
bring their own members. So